What's happening, everybody? How we doing today? Getting ready for the IG Live, coming to you from DK. Got Dean Doxakis joining us here shortly. It's going to be a good one. He's with the National Pitching Association and Tom House Sports. So it's going to be a good one. Make sure you guys stay tuned in. Looks like we got Dean joining us here in just a sec. So make sure you guys are ready. Dean, let's get you jumped in here. All right, we're going to get him joined in, guys. While we're waiting on that, make sure you guys head over to our page, diamondkinetics.com. Make sure you guys pick up our free 6-month subscriptions to Premium Pitcher, Premium Hitter. Very important.
There we go.
Do that. Dean, what's going on, man?
I got
Oh. There we go.
You got me okay?
Seems like I got you coming in now. How we doing?
Okay. Doing very well. Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Yeah, no problem. So, guys, again, just like I said, we got Dean Doxakis with us.
Oh, boy. How's our
He's
internet?
the VP of Operations for National Pitching and Tom House Sports. So, very lucky to have you. Thank you again for joining. Real quick, let's get it kicked
here.
off. And how are you doing? How are things in Houston? What do you got going on in your world right now? Everything's kind of shut down. What do you got going on?
A lot of this. I think I'm spending 90% of my day doing this, sitting in front of a computer screen and talking to folks, doing remote coaching, and just trying to help out people any way we can right now. I help take care of all of our coaches around the country. We do a lot of this, talking and helping them help their clients as well, and just trying to make the best out of the situation and help people get better while they're sitting at home,
Yeah. No, and the one thing you touched on is doing a lot of this. I think I've been on more video calls. Now, obviously, this stuff's cool. This is fun stuff. But, video calls, Zoom meetings, things like that. I mean, I've been doing that nonstop. So that's been an uptick in the amount of, videos and stuff that I've done, with other people and stuff. So it's been kind of a crazy transition, but it sounds like you're taking it in stride and things are going okay for you.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I think we're getting a lot done that we probably wouldn't have had as much time to do if we were still training folks live right now. Of course, there was, the break in the season starting, things slowed down a little bit, but we're getting a chance to build out those internal things that can even help us more when this is all over with and when we're back to seeing people live. So we'll make something out of this. So
yeah, definitely. No, and I think some of the stuff we're going to touch on tonight and kind of give people a little insight into what you guys got going on.
Right.
It's going to be pretty neat because obviously we've talked a little bit in the past about what you guys are doing. Now there's an opportunity here to get this in front of some other people that may not know as much as they need to know about, National Pitching, Tom House Sports,
right.
Health. So to kind of get things kicked off, I'd love for you to give us a quick kind of general 30,000-foot overview of what National Pitching is, Tom House Sports is,
you bet.
And how you fit into everything. Give everyone an idea of what you guys do.
So National Pitching was founded by Tom House many years ago. We have another company called Tom House Sports. This is just one of those training venues underneath that umbrella. We work with quarterbacks. We work with all rotational athletes. So I'm primarily responsible for handling the pitching side of it and working with all our coaches that are certified as national pitching coaches. I work directly for him and with him. And so what we do that's kind of unique and different than most training organizations is that if someone comes to us, it's not just one leg of the table that we work on with them. If they come to us for biomechanical, they're also going to get mental emotional training. If they come for us for mental emotional, they're also going to get nutrition. If they come for us for nutrition, they're also going to get functional strength. You got to cover all legs of the table to accurately take care of your athlete. You're only going to be as efficient as your worst movement. You're only going to be as strong as your weakest link. So if we're not addressing and finding that particular problem, it could be a situation where we're not helping them at all. So it's a full gamut, as I like to say, of training. You get everything when you come to us. So
yeah, so it's and that's kind of the one thing that I took from talking to you guys before is I thought initially it was, hey, this is just mechanical work. Go get your body fixed. Like, that's it, right? and after talking to you and learning more about it, there's to players that I don't think everyone realizes. I personally didn't. I thought it was just the mechanical side of things.
Right.
That's what, Tom has kind of built himself around, and the rest of you guys have built, this great foundation on. But there's so much more, and I think those are aspects that some people kind of overlook at times. It's the nutrition, the mental aspects, that kind of stuff. Can you kind of elaborate more on that side, the mental aspects?
Yeah. So, let's say we all have had those pitchers that come to us that are extremely talented, but will tend to struggle in stressful situations, or really good in practice and get in the game, and they can't seem to do what they've done in practice. And that's not a physical issue a lot of times. It's not a talent issue a lot of times. It's how are they handling the moment. So, in other words, if you want to get really into detail, we actually work with a product called Focus Band. And Focus Band is a company that developed a product that can actually tell us what side of the brain an athlete is using in the action while they're doing it. And so what we want them to be is more in an awareness state instead of their thinking side, more right brain than left brain. Because if you're thinking about how to do it, you're probably not going to work. Your body's not going to work like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when a kid just plays and he's just playing. He's going to be at his best instead of stressing and thinking about how to play. He's just playing. Right. And so that's kind of how we treat the mental emotional side. So if someone comes in that has those issues, we'll address those through helping them and teach them how to become more aware of what they're supposed to be doing and using that part of the brain versus the thinking about how do I do this. So
yeah, no, definitely, and that's solid stuff, because I played with several players that had the pure talent, the raw ability to do amazing things on the mound, in the batter's box, on the nine.
Right.
But when there were certain things put on them, pressures put on them, they couldn't perform. I mean, I had friends that, would pump, 92, 94 in the bullpen, and they get in the game and they can't throw a strike, right? So having that mental awareness about yourself, understanding what your body's trying to think its way through and process. I mean, that's a big piece. It's a really, really big piece.
Yeah, so we give them the systems for that to make sure they can learn how to handle anxiety and stress, through breathing exercises and using awareness techniques. Instead of seeing what you want to happen, being aware of what you happen, and then let the action go. And they get a lot better results that way. So
yeah, definitely. So hey, really quick, just want to interject. We got a bunch of people in here that are joining us right now. Make sure you guys hit the little question mark button down here at the bottom. If you guys have any questions for myself, for Dean, anything you guys have, drop your questions in there. We will get them answered on the air here. We will have time at the end for questions, so make sure you guys get those in. But Dean, to kind of continue on, I want to dive deeper into national pitching and kind of what you guys do on the regional level. I know you guys have people spread out all over the country. I think Eric Rubin's in here watching us right now. He's up in the Northwest. You're in Texas. There's other people on the East Coast. Can you kind of give us an idea on how it works if you want to be a part of national pitching on a regional level? Just want to get exposure on the regional side.
So we're pretty strict and selective on our certifications. We used to not be that way, and we realized that we really weren't controlling the product and the quality of the product. So we kind of scaled back on certifying coaches. Now we're working on getting that back up and going again, but it'll be a much more stringent process. We need to make sure that that the product that we deliver is the same as if Tom was talking. And so that's a long time to get someone up to that speed. It usually is like 1 to 3 years to just get to mastery of those 4 legs that we talked about: the biomechanical, functional strength, nutrition, and mental emotional. So it's a long process. It's not like taking a test and just getting a sticker decal for your window, It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So we do have these guys spread around the country. You can easily find them and go to them, and you should get the same training at every single one of them as if you were standing in front of Tom. I want to talk about how we utilize your product as well and those trainings as well. So when you let me know the time to do that, and I'll like to talk about that. So
we'll get there. I got that on the list, but I definitely want to get that in there. It's obviously a little plug for us, a little nice kudos.
Yeah.
But, you guys utilize our product and use it the way you do to help develop players, and we'll touch on that. But So you got your regional guys, they're out there. If somebody wants to go see them, they know that they are getting quality instruction that's been led by you, by Tom, by everybody at the top,
right,
pushing down the same message. And that's important because we see a lot of programs out there that have, hundreds of teams that are underneath their umbrella. And you can see from time to time, if those teams are too far away from the core and from the center, they may not share the same values or opinions or thoughts on how to do certain things proper. So it's really nice that you guys have kind of scaled that back and turned it into, this guy knows just as much as Tom because he learned directly from Tom. And now he's in an area that can benefit you. Now, talked about the regional guys. I love your regional guys. I've met a ton of them. But now kind of getting into hopefully what we can get back to here in the near future is your guys' camps and clinics. This is a way to get in front of yourself, to get in front of Tom at certain events. Like, what should players know? Hopefully this is going to come back for you guys soon, but what should players know about what they would get coming to one of your guys' camps or clinics?
When they come to one of our camps, we're going to touch all those subjects that we talked about in different stages of that. So we'll talk about the biomechanical variables in our model, and we'll go through it, and we'll show video. Like, we've been posting a lot of stuff this week on release point height versus distance. What's the proper teach? Yeah. And we went through and looked back at the last 30 years of Cy Young winners, and guess what? They're all letting go ball with their eyes level and not like this,
But this.
So they get a lot of that when they come to our camps. We go through the entire biomechanical model, and we basically go through all the false conventional wisdoms that are out there about pitching. And there's a bunch of them. And then we give them the data and information as to why. It's not just because we believe we are guessing at that. We're actually looking at data and looking at athletes and 30 plus years and 1,000 plus of 3D motion analysis of elite athletes, Hall of Famers. And, we've learned a lot. I mean, for instance, people talk about how do we train pitchers and quarterbacks. The old story is that Tom had 2 motion analysis sitting on his desk, and one was Drew Brees and one was Greg Maddux. And he thought they were the exact same. He thought someone had made a mistake. And so this all happened on accident, He's looking at it, he says, if I didn't know one was football, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference except for time and distance. Yeah. So anyway, back to what they'll get at the camp. They'll get the explanation of the biomechanical model, how it works, how it applies to them. We talk a lot about windows of trainability. You have a window of trainability early in an athlete's, from like 6 years old to puberty, where it's just nerve pathway patterning. It doesn't do a lot of good to do a lot of functional strength training there. You got to develop those nerve pathways. And then from then it becomes functional strength. So we talk about what kind of training they should be doing for their window of trainability and not trying to skip ahead, because that's where we get a lot of injuries. So, and then in addition, we take them through a lot of our drills. And a lot of our drills are what we call nerve pathway patterning. And that can be done both for strength, joint integrity, and arm speed and speed thresholds, depending on what kind of weight you're using. So we do a lot of holds when we do throwing motion. And there's a lot of folks out there that are on the other side of that fence. And the reason why we do that, and we've tested it thoroughly, is because 1, it's significantly lower stress. 2, it does not affect biomechanical movements when they go live. 3, even including valgus torque, is much less when we do all that. We've tested all those things. Wow. So what a person can do is pattern for correct mechanics, build functional strength, joint integrity, and speed threshold without putting a lot of stress on their arms. So we do a lot of that in our camps. And then we have nutrition lecture, and then we have mental emotional lecture. And then that's it.
Okay. No, and you say that's it, but guys, when you guys actually break it down, and I know you guys spend a ton of time on it, like, yeah, you simplified it and gave it to us in like a 40-second clip, but there's so much that goes into that. And you touched on the training, and that was something we talked about before. Is kind of there's 3 levels, right? There's 3 levels of that training, right, that we spoke about.
That's the type of training that you can do. Yeah. Yes. So what we have right now is an opportunity actually to train in the best way, and I'll explain the 3 levels. You have random training, you have block training, and then you have deep training. The best form is deep. So what is the difference between these? Random training is when you control none of the variables, which is like a game. You know, a lot of time you can't control any of the variables of the ball game. As a pitcher, you throw a great pitch, ground ball should be a ground air, you know, those kind of things. You can't control those things. So that's random training. In fact, random training should be where you apply your skill, not build it. Okay. So then we go into block training, which is you control some of the variables. That's a lot of what we do. And then the third form is deep training. That's when it's just you and you alone training. It's where you get your best retention, your best establishment of nerve pathways, your best subconscious being and knowing and what you're supposed to do. That awareness state we're talking about, that we're trying to, that really good athletes have instead of thinking. So it's actually your best form of training. And what does that mean? It means that you're working by yourself without any outside influence. And as a guy that gets paid to coach people, you know, I hate to say that. I don't want to take away from what we do. But if the kids, after they leave us, they would go do just as much deep training, we'd have a lot more success. And it basically, it's just like taking a kid and put him in a cage and say, I need you to hit this bucket of balls and walk away and say, I want you to hit half over here, half over there, half there. And if you were just watching from a distance, you'd be amazed how someone could coach themselves and train themselves without someone saying, no, your hands were too fast. Your hands were, you know, this and that. It really makes a difference. So same thing with patterning. That's another reason why our holds are so important. You can deep train by yourself without somebody just telling you, no, what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right. You intuitively are going to do better. So that's the level of training.
Yeah, and so, you know, it's kind of crazy, you know, the times that we're in right now and kind of the, you know, the place we're in this world. I mean, we went from literally going with variable and block training, you know, in season stuff where we're going and we're playing games and we're going and we're practicing. We're in a bullpen where there's, you know, there's limited variabilities, where there's controllables, to all of a sudden now we're stuck in a world where deep training is vitally important, right?
Yeah.
Can you just touch on that just a little bit more and kind of give our audience, you know, one other reason that they should be doing some sort of deep training on their own at home right now to stay in the right, you know, mindset or in shape?
Well, mostly it's just think about the advantage you're going to have when you get back. I mean, if all you're doing right now is just random training where you're not controlling the variables and actually working on what is your weakest link. If you're not fixing that, then you're probably not making yourself any better. So find out what your weakest link is and then deep train on that. You know, you look at your best in all the sports. When practice is over, guess who's still out there? That guy. Because he wants to work by himself and work on something very specific that was his problem or that weak link. So this is the time. I mean, we always encourage deep training, but you have now this opportunity where you can just go. Today I filmed an episode of mirror drill. And this is really a cheap and effective way to train. Go to your local home improvement store and they have these mirrored sliding closet doors. You get 2 of them for $80. You're going to spend a lot more money this year on gloves and bats and not going to do anything to make you better. So get this mirror, put a piece of blue painter's tape right down the middle, go through your pitching drills, keep your nose on that line all the way through your motion, and you're going to improve your efficiencies. People can create energy real easily, whether it becomes into the implement or not, and at a lower stress level is whether you're efficient or not with that movement. So that goes back to the biomechanics. So
That's awesome. And again, for everyone that's watching out there, any of you guys are players, got to be doing something. Obviously now is a great time to be doing deep training, reflect on yourself, and just keep doing stuff to improve yourself, right? And I think that's kind of the underlying thing that we'd like to get across to everybody is continue to do something in this time of uncertainty, continue to stick to a routine, try to do something that makes things normal, and then improve on your weaknesses, because obviously once things get kicked back up and we start going again, like, you got to get ready to hit the hammer and go. Right?
Exactly. So, that is one of my fears, is that if people aren't actually keeping up with the arm care and the activities, that when they go back too quickly and could get overloaded. Yeah. So another reason why you need to be doing a lot of arm care right now is so that when things get cranked up, that you're ready to go.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's awesome stuff. So bringing it back to us, bringing it back to DK and Pitch Tracker here. I want to circle it back and kind of talk to you and have you kind of tell us, how you're utilizing our baseball, because obviously I'm on your website right now. I'm on the website here, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's that MPA baseball, right, with the black line on it. So we've kind of stepped your game up a little bit on the baseball
yes, you
side.
have since then. Yeah, we don't need the black marker anymore.
Can you kind of take us through what you're doing with Pitch Tracker and how you're using it to develop players?
So one of the things that we always like to do is make sure that the protocols that we're teaching is actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so we do check up on those things. And of course, spin rate has become a big topic of discussion for everybody. And so we want to make sure that what we were teaching was also helping increase spin rate, ball movement, things like that. So we did tests with the ball and looked at athletes that followed our protocols, and I'll explain those more specifically, and ones that didn't. And the ones that did do what we asked them to do, you would have increases in spin rates. So anywhere from 100 to 200 rotations per minute, depending on the window of trainability. Younger, lower, older, up to 200. So that could be a big deal for someone when they're trying to get that spin rate up. And so specifically some of those things that did that was the efficiencies that I was talking about. You can create energy, but the further things get away from your center mass, whether it's your glove, your head. So let's say you're one of these guys, and your head's outside your center mass. Let's say you're one of these guys and you're pulling out here and it looks like this. That is your efficiencies are going down. Not as much energy can go into the ball. Your spin rate's going to go down. So, but we have guys, the more levelized, the closer their head is to center mass, closer their glove to center mass at release. We don't care what happens when the ball leaves your hand. Unless you're a magician and you can make that ball do something after you let go, then it's different. But at release, if you're in the right place and you're efficient, your spin rate's going to go up. So we verified that with the ball. The other thing that we kind of do is spin rate training. We can actually have some protocols that not only does efficiencies increase our spin rate, but what if we're actually training to go faster? Okay. Now, as long as you're doing all the other work to keep your joints in good shape and condition, we can increase arm speed safely. So we actually have a series of drills we go through as well. We measure with the ball as well to make sure those are working as well. So that's how we utilize it.
And that is phenomenal stuff, because for most people today, the standard and clear-cut way to increase spin rate is just increase velocity, right? And that's a portion of what you guys do. You help athletes increase their velocity, but you do it in different ways where you've actually seen, a spike in spin rate. And so really quick, I just want to touch on spin rate, because we're talking 100 to 200 RPMs of added spin on your particular pitch. Let's say it's a fastball. I mean, that could be the difference between that ball ending here in the strike zone and ending here, and the hitter still perceives it here, right? We could be talking about an inch to 2 inches of swing and miss stuff just based on becoming a little bit more efficient, right? Staying in center mass and that kind of stuff. Can you just elaborate a little more on the importance of the spin rate in your eyes?
So it's not including the spin rate. It's other things that go with that with a good efficiency. So yes, it's going to jump up with a good efficiency. But in addition, if you have good efficiencies, guess what else happens is that release point goes from farther back to closer as well. So now not only are we dealing with real velocity, but perceived velocity as well. So it's a cumulative thing. You have what they talk about. I guess you guys spin efficiency. You can throw hard with not really good efficiency of your spin rate. So again, being in the right position at the release is going to make a big difference with that. So.
Yeah. So definitely, I think. Oh, sorry. What was that last one?
That's it. I was gonna. Did I answer your question? Is what I was making sure that I did.
Yes. Yeah. No, you nailed it. And I think that's a cool thing too, because perceived velocity is something that I think gets lost in the message at times too, right? And so a player, I always use the prime example of Noah Syndergaard, right? He's a little bit taller, but it helps me prove my point. He lives at, I think it's 2018 numbers. He averaged 98.6 on his fastball. But his extension, his release is so much farther out in front than what the average pitcher is, that his ball actually gets on the hitter at about 101.3. So, We're jumping almost 3.5 miles an hour, right? Just based on getting the ball released slightly farther out in front than what you normally do, right? And that's coming with extra pronation, which is going to help with spin.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of good things happen from there, right?
Right. Exactly. The longer you stay here and to release, the better things happen here. So you can get a lot more out of it. So.
Yeah, no, and that's really cool. So, hey, switching gears slightly, I wanted to throw this in here because I wanted to talk a little bit about your son. So he, recently, for those of you that don't know, Dean has a son who was just drafted last year, correct?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, last year out of Texas A&M, was a second-round pick to the Rays. So, obviously, a second-round pick to the Rays, a second-round pick in general as a pitcher is a really good thing. I don't need to dive into the entire story of how he got there and what got him there, but can you kind of tell us a little bit about his journey? You told me he touched as high as 97 at one point in his career.
Yeah.
But when he got drafted, he was sitting 90, 93. Can you kind of tell us, what kind of changed for him and what ended up working that helped him get to be a second-round draft pick?
So it really is a long journey, but it's hard to kind of bundle up real quickly. But, he's like any other kid growing up. They all, they all need a little bit of help. But one of the things that kind of specifically I would say is that part you mentioned going from 97 to about 93 averaging there was, he said, that's the hardest I've ever been hit is when I threw 97. So what's going on there? Again, it comes down to efficiencies. Yeah, he was, really trying to run it up there, and he could, but was he being efficient enough to get in a good position to make that ball move? And so, no, he wasn't. So, yeah, you can throw, again, what's happened in our industry lately is velocity's become such a big focus for everything. We've kind of lost focus on being a pitcher and learning how to pitch and make a ball move and get outs. And not saying it's not important. Yeah, you've got to have the velocity to succeed. But why not find it where you have both? It may not be your best velocity, but it may be good enough with the movement to get it done. So some of the changes he made was just getting more efficient, okay, and trusting to get his body to work correctly instead of trying to overdo it and just trying to throw hard.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a growing up thing too. But he was always pretty good, and then got better over time. And worked really hard. Never, he was an extremely hard worker. So I won't take anything away from him. And I joked about when you asked me about the first time. I said, I don't want that kid riding my coattails. Let's not talk about him. But so,
yeah, well, I just wanted to bring it in because I think it's a good point for people to understand. Like your son was a second-round pick. He's no slouch on the mound.
Right.
But the thing is that when he was trying to pump it by everybody. Like he basically defeated his ability to command the zone and command his pitches the way they were supposed to be thrown, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Especially with the breaking ball too. And it wasn't until like his sophomore year that he really got the slider working towards, it's phenomenal. So, and he throws it for a strike a lot too because of good efficiency. So, And there's another guy that's just like that. I hope my son has the same kind of career, but Greg Maddox was the same way. That guy could pop a 93, 95 anytime you want him to. Is my understanding from the people I've talked to. But where did he live? 89, 90, and 91, right around there. Because he realized the same things. If I try to throw as hard as I can, then I can't get my body to be efficient, and I'm not going to get out to the release point I need to. That gives me good spin rate, ball movement, those type of things. So. There's other people that have done that over the past. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. But again, I think for our general audience, I think the idea and the theme of what we were talking about there is velocity one will get you noticed.
Yes.
But command and pitchability is what's going to get you beyond that, right?
And it's kind of part of my problem with some of the training that I see a lot. I see what they call these pull downs and things like that, and it's those are great speed thresholds improvement thing. But it's probably the most inefficient movement I've ever seen out of a pitching motion. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying that it shouldn't be the way you train to pitch. It should be a speed threshold thing only. So.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, so let's see. I want to see if we got any questions in. Everyone's too shy. Nobody's got any questions for you, Dean. I wanted to wanted to see if they, anybody had anything about mechanics or anything like that. So if anybody does, make sure you get those in. We got a few more minutes here with Dean. But,
I got a couple things I'll talk about real quick with spin rate that we've noticed as well, and that's grips. So what we see a lot of kids doing, we'll see this a lot, okay? And then sometimes we see just a little bit more. Guys that really spin the ball well are just almost right over that first knuckle over that seam. Unless they get a handle on the ball, that's what they mean by that, okay? Yeah. So, young people, make sure that you're not sitting on top of a seam with your fingertips or right in front of it. Go ahead and get them across so you have a good handle on that seam. Get you a little better spin rate. The other thing is splitting the ball in half between your middle finger and your thumb, okay? If you're not doing that, you're basically cutting the ball a little bit, okay? And that's going to take a little bit of your velocity away as well. You got some movement there, but you want your best velocity, best spin rate, make sure you split the ball in half between thumb and middle finger. It's the last finger to touch the ball when it leaves your hand because it's the longest finger on your hand. So that's why that has to be the center of the axis. So.
Well, let me ask you this, because I wasn't that guy, right? I was the guy who was like right on top. I liked being right on top of the seam. It for me just felt good. Now obviously I'm done playing, so who knows if it would have helped me or not. But just getting on, can you it's that pull at the end, right? It's allowing that middle finger to stay on that seam for a longer time by that shift, right?
Yeah, it's not like it's a conscious thing to try and keep your middle finger on the ball as long as you can. Yeah. But if you put your body in the right position, we always say it's inevitably going to do it correct if your body's in the right position, your head and glove and all that stuff. So, but as long as that is centered on the ball, you'll have your best effect from it. So
that's beautiful.
Feels weird to us. Feels weird to guys that never did that. I mean, a lot of guys will sometimes be slightly off a little bit. That's what feels normal to them. And so I'm just talking about young kids. You want to start them off right. Make sure they're splitting in half.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, because I used to be a pitching coach at one time, and it was something I used to talk about with guys, and it was more for them and me. It was more of a field thing. But as I've come along and over the last few years, looking at data and things like that, you're right. Getting that thumb underneath and splitting the ball really helps with a lot of issues that you may have that you don't really know you have, because it's just happening in your hand, right? And it's not something you're conscious about all the time.
Right, exactly.
So, awesome. Well, hey, Dean, I got nothing else for you. You got anything else for us?
No, I would say this. Your product is great for a couple of reasons. I'll just finish with, and I'm being very serious about this. Is that the great thing is reasonable price for people. For a reasonable price, you can get results or see what your results are. I would say this about baseball, though. It's important to know your results and measure them. But use your results to steer your process. Work on your process. If you're not getting the spin rate you want, what is your process going into that may be affecting that? So it's a great tool, and you guys have done a great job providing something that's affordable and useful and meaningful to athletes. But use it to adjust your process and not just focus on the result, okay? And that's all I got, man.
Awesome. Dean, one more thing I want you to do for me. All right, you guys are on your website on nationalpitching.com. I got a little thing here. It says sign up to get access for 2 months free training resources. Can you tell us a little bit about it and tell people what they need to do to get it?
So in the next couple of weeks, I hope, we're going to be posting a whole new video library on there. And what it'll do is if you get a membership, you'll have access to this video library. It's going to be a ton of information, drills, exercises, conditioning, things that are very specific to a rotational athlete that we've used for a long time, as well as some new things for a lot of successful athletes. So we want to make sure that people have access to that information. We're going to try and keep it as affordable as possible, but while we're getting it set up, we want to give people an opportunity to save a little bit of money. If you sign up and put your name on there, when we do launch it, there'll be a discount for you for that membership.
Awesome. And they can get the 2 months for free right now by just signing up, correct?
Just sign up. Yep.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much, Dean. This was amazing. Everyone watching, make sure you head over to nationalpitching.com. Pick up your free 2 months of the videos. After hearing this, I don't know why you wouldn't, right? And again, also on our end from DK, go pick up your 6-month free subscription to Premium Pitcher, Premium Hitter. We are giving away free stuff. National Pitching's giving away free stuff. Make sure you guys grab it. It's only available for a little bit more time. Ours is till the end of the month. Your guys' is coming up soon. But Dean, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Enjoyed it. Anytime.
Awesome having you. Yeah, we're gonna have to definitely get you guys back on for sure. Once we get back to normal here, and even if we don't, we'll get you back on. But
sounds good.
This was an awesome learning experience. So thank you very much.
You bet. My pleasure.
Awesome. Take care. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. Had a great time tonight with Dean. If you guys have any questions, make sure to either DM Diamond Kinetics or you can DM me. I saw a spin rate question in here. Coach Betko, DM me. Kyle Bennett DK. I'll pop up. DM me that question. I will answer it, and I will get you some more information on that. But, guys, thank you so much for joining in. Check us out Thursday night. You're not going to want to miss it. Monty Lee from Clemson University with JD. Check it out on Thursday. Take care, guys.